All right. It says excellent. So that means the stream is going. And yeah, hopefully we'll see some peoples. I'm going to try really hard not to like endlessly bump the camera, but not making any promises. Yeah, if you didn't read the description, tonight I'm going to work on painting these guys. May not get it done. Oh, he's out of shot. May not get them done, but we'll at least get first coats and stuff on them. And then once those are to the point where they're drying, then we'll work on this guy who just, he needs some mache up in here, and then we'll start coating the rest of them again, probably with bigger pieces. I'll talk to you about that in a second. I'm gonna go switch chairs again because I forgot how annoyingly squeaky this one is. Chair's a little better. All right, so got both my Conan cups. Used to use them for coffee, now they're for this. For those of you who don't know, I am a huge Conan dweeb. Obviously brand new thing of paint. I was going through my paints a couple days ago and realized that I was basically out of like a lot of stuff I need. I haven't really actively done art in a long time, except for school. And that's largely been pencil drawing and stuff. Right. Starting with the first coat on this bad boy. It's going to be a devil. So in Mexican paper mache, so what's called cartoneria, which means basically means cardboard work. These little devils are called Judases, right? And there is this festival that they have on Holy Saturday, which if you're unfamiliar with how Catholicism / Christianity works, so Jesus dies on a Friday. The Saturday, while he is in the grave / hell, defeating death and the devil, that day of the week is called Holy Saturday. And then on Easter, he's up from the grave. But there is a festival in Mexico on Holy Saturday where they make these big devils called Judases, named after the betrayer of Jesus. And these Judases get blown up with fireworks. And it's like kind of a allegory of the punishment deserved of the betrayer of the Christ. So yeah, so that's why, I'm working on these kind of sugar skull type maches that I wanted to do one that was like a devil, like just as a representation of that kind of festival. Also, I like devil stuff, obviously. I mean, maybe not obviously. I don't know. I don't know who's watching, but love metal, love punk, love dark, weird things. That was the name of this channel before I changed it to If I Hated You, You Would Know. It's dumb, like, I've always really like questioned my own like artistic abilities, and my own, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to say intelligence, but just like my own like skill at understanding like things around me. This is not put on as well as the other ones are, I think, but and I've gone back to school, like I'm back in school, and as a consequence, I've like learned a lot about art and art history, but I've also learned a lot about kind of the validity of my artistic vision, right? So, like, while I may not be 100% satisfied with how these turn out in the long run, I'm sure I'll be fairly satisfied, but the reality is as long as I just keep working at it and getting better and better at it, I'm accomplishing my goal, right? And this may be the art style that I pursue for a long time. I may find something new that captures my interest quickly. I may not, and I do other stuff too. I do a lot of like collage, and like I'm trying to get better at acrylic painting. Like I'm about to embark on probably the highest level acrylic painting I've ever attempted, in service of a specific piece. And that kind of stuff is, it's okay. It'll be covered in black, so it won't show up. But I don't know. It's just, it's okay to like want to do what you want to do, right? Like I think we have this idea. Anybody that has artistic inclination, right, has this idea that it has to be in service to like a specific thing or like a style or uh a movement in art or whatever. And the reality is you should just be doing it for you, right? You should be doing it because it's what you like. And if somebody else doesn't like it, well, it's not for them. And that's okay. They weren't your audience. You don't need to know who your audience is beforehand. Your audience can be you. So, anyway, that's my pontificating, I think, for the day. I'm sure I'll do more of it here in a little bit. My first initial coating was pretty patchy, but going over it a second time starting to look pretty good. Wonder how. Let's see. Let's try the different colors of light. Let's see if. Nope. Nope. Yeah, we'll stick with that. All right. The red, I think this is going to be a pretty good first coat. I'm going to come up the horns a little bit more. And if I don't like how far up I've come on them, that's okay, because the horns will be black, so I can cut them in. I'm thinking black horns Probably some black in like the kind of nostril and eyes area. I'm thinking like yellow eyes with black pupils. That seems pretty Judasy to me. So, official term, Judasy. Not to be confused with Jodasy. Alright. I'm trying to... There's a little divot there that you probably can't see on camera, but I'm trying to just make sure there's paint all the way in there too. Alright. Up you go. Into the beans for drying. I'm sure I don't do this stuff right. That's okay. Big old thing of white. Dang, that sealed itself shut. Ooh. Must have made a big old mess with it last time. Alright, I'm gonna just dip right into the white. Oh yeah, he's very twisty. Let's give this a little piece of tape. Still very twisty. Well, you know what? I'll have to figure it out. Alright, moving the red out of the way so I don't accidentally... paint everything red. So this was my first attempt at mounting this onto any kind of stick. So I, you know, if you're watching this, I'm pretty new to this particular process. These are my first skulls done this way. I've done a few other things, but I did a snake that turned out pretty good on a piece. It's actually on a piece of collage art, which you know, you guys will eventually see me doing that too. But as far as doing like this kind of style of molded paper mache, I really only have one other piece that I've done like this. Is a little figure, a little cholo skeleton. He's very rudimentary, much like these guys are. But these are like my first like just skulls, right? So the first one I didn't mount to anything. That's the devil skull. And I realized that that was a mistake as I was doing the paper mache and didn't have anything to hold on to. So I stuck the metal skewer into him because he was already pretty, he was pretty solid and pretty done as far as the mache part went. But I wanted to be able to hold on to something while I painted. That has gone pretty poorly. So the next time I tried with this, like just a little skewer, and you can see I can just pull that right out now. So that was my first experiment with it, and it did not go so good. And I realize now that it's because it's not like really mounted to anything, right? It's just stuck in there. Again, because I had made it without attaching a stick beforehand, right? You know what? You're just gonna lay like that for a second. And then almost done with the first coat on this. It's a lot easier with white because the gesso that's underneath it is also white, so it just blends really well. Going white to red is a little trickier, but it's much easier to see through. It's interesting because like I sanded it after I gessoed it, so it's like a little less white and you can see a little more of the paper. So now, as I'm going like this, like I can actually really see really well where I've gone and where I haven't gone. Paper scraps. All right, there's a big old hole in his nose that I want to make sure is really socked in with white. I think these white ones probably just need to dry and then get into them. I'm going to do pretty basic sugar skull stuff with these. All right, so this is my third one, right? Where I thought about it beforehand, right? So I molded it around the stick, and then the stick is taped. And what I'll do is I'll just cut right there, pull it out, and I mean, there'll just be a little tiny hole, which I could probably, I mean, I'm sure I could patch it. I mean, I could just throw a little piece of paper mache over the hole and then, paint white over it because there's not going to be anything else down there. I think so far this is my best realized one. And again, it's only my third sugar skull, so. And I plan on doing several more before Dia de los Muertos, because I'm going to try to have an ofrenda at my work. And for that, I want to make a lot of the decorations so that it looks more like a real one. More like one in Mexico City 30 years ago. As opposed to now when you can just go to the grocery store and buy plastic Dia de los Muertos stuff. I think these white ones will be pretty good with one coat. See after they dry, but I think my real only problem is like with the design of the skull itself, right? So like the nostrils too weird and like the eyes are not quite the way I would want them to be. But these feel just so much like, how do I do this? Let's figure it out. And I think, I don't know, I'm going to do something funky with him. All right. Into the water you go. Getting that white out there is going to be a lot harder than getting that red out of there. I'm dipping it into that big pot, so it's gone way up on the metal in a way that I would not like normally. All right, bring this plate back down. We're gonna go here. I'm gonna stick him there for now. A bit of black paint. Let's see if he's dry enough to hold down there. I think he. I'll have to. I'm planning on coating it a second time anyway, so. I just thought to myself how much this looks like. I mean, not like really looks like, but the motif of bright red devil black horns is so much like Legend. Just, I don't know, very goofy to me for some reason. Fuck it. I'm glad I took the step of gessoing these guys because it makes them. I don't know. It feels like it's making them really pop. I did a snake before that doesn't have that. It was literally my first. It was probably my first paper mache project since like second grade or something like that. But um, yeah, I didn't gesso any of that. Like, I mean, I made tons of mistakes. There's like holes in it and all sorts of stuff. But it's my first, and it's my first really big piece. It's a big confidence builder for me because I accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. And like, yeah, some of my personal friends say it's very cool looking, and that's all well and good. And I trust their opinions, but eventually I want these things to see the light of day in a totally different way, and so I'm hoping that I'm hoping that piece gets seen and that people appreciate it, but I'm hoping as time goes on I just get better and better. All right. That bad boy out. There, so your horns can dry. I'm going to clean this and then go back over with red for sure. Just because I definitely got white on it. If I just go over the whole thing one more time, that'll give it that super bright red look. It's starting to look pretty cool. All right. My kid Cody took a bunch of my brushes. So just Working with what I got. It's going good so far, though. Put something in the chat. Just something simple. Alright, let's see here. Alright. Just kind of trying to think about how these guys should look. It's looking pretty white. It's getting pretty close to dry. This one's got a ways to go too. Yeah, I may sit on those and come back to them after working on this. Just noticed that was open, sorry. Alright, here we go. So, this one, see, I've done what I did with that third one, where I've got this big piece in here, right? And I really feel like I'll be able to just cut that off, pull the stick out, and have like a little hole. So if you look, it's a little tricky to see because it's like paper on paper, but this deeper yellower stuff is already on there. So I'm looking to cover like these spaces in here, and I'm going to kind of enclose this piece right here. So, time to make the worst noise ever. Guys back up here until I'm done with you, or done with this at least. Alright, Conan cups are gone. Time for engrudo and paper. Oh, I can see some spots that I missed the last time I was working on this. Some of these little pieces for that. This guy, I know you saw me move him, but this guy is for another bigger, much bigger piece, which I'll show you guys. Probably more time-lapsey pictures of, so. Alright, let's go here. Yeah. Tear off these pieces that are just sticking up. And then just freaking flop them right back in there. So today I found a documentary that was about very short, half an hour long. That was about Pedro Linares. Pedro Linares is a cartoneria or no cartonero. So he makes these kind of made these kind of things. He's passed away quite a while ago, but he is actually the guy that invented alebrijes, right? So like the mystical creatures from the movie Coco. You've probably seen them like as um, little wooden carvings and things like that. But he's actually the guy that came up with them, and he made his out of paper mache or carton, which, if you didn't catch earlier, literally just means cardboard, which I thought was very interesting. But the way he made them was with wires and just layer upon layer of paper. And so I don't know, that kind of stuff is cool to watch. Very inspiring, and just very, I don't know. Just watching his method is very different, right? So, I'm trying to learn this new skill, so I'm very slow at it, right? And he, in this video, he's teaching, apprentices how to do it. For starters, he's working two ways. He was working either with reed armatures, so armatures that were made up out of like it looked like some kind of cut palm. Again, nothing in this video explains any of the process. It kind of assumes that you know what you're looking at, which I don't always. But so he would work with the reed armatures, wire armatures, and then most of his business is in making things out of molds, right? So they have these terracotta or clay molds that basically you've put the whole amount, you cover the whole thing with paper, or the cardboard, which is what they called it. And I think it's because of the type of paper that they're using. They're using that brown, shipping paper. But once it covers the entire mold, you're literally having to cut it out after that. Just very fascinating. Here I'm sealing this bottom up. I think it's doing what I want it to do. Feels like it. It's funny because I used to be so afraid of skulls and stuff like that. In the old Incredible Hulk TV show, which I mean, probably most people don't. That's a dumb statement. I'm sure plenty of people remember it, but in the intro scene, the credits at the beginning, for a brief moment, because it's expressing his time in the in the lab when all the gamma radiation is hitting him, right? And it shows that by kind of showing an x-ray of him. So for a brief moment you just see a skull floating in the middle of nowhere. I just remember being so terrified of that crap. Now I'm like, all the skulls. Right. I got that part pasted in. To do just like a piece over the top of all of that. This will be very, very smooshy. Kind of keep it all together. One of the things that was super crazy about the Pedro Linares video is that because they're working from molds, right, and because they're so intimately familiar with like these same molds that they've used, you know, probably hundreds and hundreds of times, you see them, you know, just with the mold out, and then these big pieces of, you know, brown paper, and it says big tear, cover huge swath of it. So like for the next like layer that I'm gonna do on this, I'm gonna try to do some of that with the back of the skull. But I want to get this kind of like jaw piece really in there. Right, so I'm starting to do a little bit of overlap to the bottom. See if that helps. Inside this, just it's very tricky. All right. So that. That's the other thing I was a little jealous of. So they live in, Linares lived in central Mexico, right? And his children still do. But their whole studio was basically outside under like kind of a tent. And then when it was ready to dry, they just took it out into the sunshine. I do not have sunshine today. Otherwise, I would stick this out there to like fucking dry faster. So I could work on it more tonight, but I think I'm going to have to let it dry overnight. All right, well, if this is what you were coming to see, I will have to apologize that this is going to have to dry before I can go much further on it. Because I don't want to fuck around with this too much, because it's got to lay like that, and that will probably fuck up the back pretty bad. Scoot in there. Trying to seal some of these little spots. The less gaps I have when I do the second coat, the better. Because this is not, yeah. So I have this 100% covered, but it's not ready for gesso yet. It's going to need another coat for sure, just to make it as solid as it needs to be. That's looking pretty good in there though. And the top is good. All right, we're gonna do a little switcheroo. All right, I gotta go wash my hands. I'll be right back. All right. Goodbye, Ingrudo. Hello, Dada. That's probably wrong. Water, Conan cups. All right. Start with black on these guys. What? Wish I knew where my round brush was, Cody. Let's try this guy. See if it's a little better. Nope. Cody, in the future, if you're watching this, I want my brushes back. So because these aren't like super like stylistically made, they have like uneven features. I'm going to try to follow as much of that as possible and kind of make these less of the like symmetrical sugar skulls and more of the just a little goofier, I think. Oh, should I give him the, yeah, let's give it the ace of spades treatment. Oh my goodness, my dog is so upset. A little bit of white that's not quite dry right there, but that's okay. You're still gonna be goofy looking the way I want you to be. So far, I like him. He's got. He's goofy. I love him. I know this is not how an actual skull looks, but it's how I want this one to look. That's going to need to dry a little. I'm going to finish that part. All right, let's see this guy. So this guy I've been thinking about doing an eye patch for. So I may only do the one eye. In round. This one, I'm just going to do a normal nose, I think. I'm going to come way up here with it. Trying to get better at making sure that I'm doing this. Like I'm trying to get better at making sure that you can see what I'm doing as I'm doing it, because I don't have, a full setup really yet. I mean, I have like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what a full setup really is anymore. that I'm enjoying what I'm doing. And I hope that people watch. This guy might have a little bit of a spinal column. That would be pretty funny. Right by that eventual patch. Sure that I know where I'm going with this. Yeah, that will more likely than not get cut off. Should probably be using the stick so I'm not getting crap everywhere. For sure this is the pirate one though, for the patch. It's probably not the most exciting thing to watch me paint in silence. Sorry, guys. Just got into pure concentration. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to really talk about today. Like I said, I'm watching a lot of videos on paper mache. I finished the book Mexican Cartoneria, which is basically the only book that I've seen that's like an overview of the art form, right? Uh, there are books about like individuals, and I'm definitely gonna have to hunt some of those down, but I am gonna run into the language barrier for sure. Um, I don't know. I don't know how I'm gonna deal with that, but I will. Probably lots of uh, the Googling the page. What I really want is like to find more like videos or books or something that talk about like the techniques, right? Because like watching the video of Pedro Linares, like it made me realize like how fundamental molds were to like his particular brand of business, and that the alebrijes that he was making were more of his like artistic thing. So like something like what I'm making right now, he would have made with a mold that he would have. And he would have just boop, 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 and it would have been done, and then it would have dried for a day, and then it would have, gone into paint and been done. I'm glad you find it soothing, David. But yeah, so like he was going really fast. Like everything would be really, really fast. Um, and I posted the video that I'm talking about as a community post, which I don't even really know how those work. So I don't know how like people view them or whatever, or what they look like on YouTube. I don't really care too much about that shit. If you've watched the video about let's do something new and all that shit, then you know that this is just largely just for me. It's about, exploring the things that I want to explore and talking to people about the things I want to talk about. And yeah, it's nice. But it also means I don't really understand how any of this shit works on here anymore. There's a minute there where like I was constantly like working to game the algorithm to get more viewers and all that stuff, and I'm just, yeah, whatever. This is way more fun. My dog's probably just going to keep barking because I can hear other dogs barking, which means there's like probably somebody in the neighborhood or something. Part of me wants to bust into Ghostbusters theme, but I know for a fact that I would like get this video taken down or something. How do I like that? I like that. So I think I'm gonna give him like a, yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go full anime mouth with this. Like, why not, right? So that's one thing that's been really funny about watching videos and reading books about this stuff is like cartoneros and like this particular art form is like really, really traditional, right? So like in the book I was reading, there was like discussion about, is it appropriate to use anything besides like wheat paste and paper and, paint, right? Which the acrylic paint doesn't seem to be an issue, even though that's not a very traditional um, medium, right? I like that guy a lot. But um, for some reason acrylic paint is an issue, but like there's like one of the things I saw is like the eyes in an alebrije had been done with marble instead of just paint, like a piece of like a just a marble, like the toy, instead of just painted in place. And so there was, argument between different artisans about whether or not that counts, whether or not that's carton, you know. And obviously there's like an older generation that thinks it's not, and a younger generation that thinks it is or doesn't care, right? Like one of the artists that was really pretty adept at this stuff, specifically talks about himself as a paper macheer so that he doesn't have to deal with like the drama of the, you know, is this the correct version of what you do? Dang, that's turned out pretty cool. So we're gonna go like this. Oh, this just became ASMR because I whispered. You can hear little kids squealing outside. That is for sure what the dog is barking at. Give him one more. Oh, yeah. That is totally unnecessary shit that nobody else is ever gonna see. Oh man, I got a little black on there. I have to go back over it with some white. Dang it. Alright. No, 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 no. Oh man. I went all the way down. Sorry. Somebody should said. Ah, no, 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 no. What do you think? Yeah? Pretty good pirate skull so far. This almost looks like Jack Skellington. But he's gonna get more designs. This guy is for sure my favorite so far. Yeah, I think it's just dry enough to do this. Maybe not quite yet. It needs a little time to dry. All right, big skull is drying. Where'd my towel go? It's on the floor. So I was talking about the devil ones earlier. So um, in Mexican tradition, there is a Holy Week celebration that takes place on Holy Saturday, which you're you, so I don't need to explain to you what that is. But on Holy Saturday, they get these things called Judases, right? And a Judas is a big paper mache devil, right? And they coat it in fireworks and then they explode it basically as like revenge for the betrayal of Jesus, right? And in like in Mexico, these Judases are um, typically devils, right? But they can also be like political figures or like different um, just different social things. Like you could have a big old beer bottle that you blow up, as a celebration of sobriety, or like a big old whatever it is. Like you don't like your boss, so you have a cartonero make you like an effigy of your boss, basically. But it's meant to like effectively explode traitors, right? So I've made it like representative of that like tradition, but I made like a really little one because I wanted to. I mean, these are like my first ones, right? Like, so I wanted to get good at it before I tried to make one that was like 3 meters tall, which is pretty average. And I think like so. I think there's different art stuff happening here in town in Greeley. There's the art oh man, what do they call it? Like the Greeley Art District, right? And they're like remodeling their space. And I'm hoping to like potentially do stuff with them. I mean, and obviously this is all just like me future dreaming, right? There's the Black Box through the bookstore. I want to do, I'd like to do some stuff with them. There's, I mean, there's just all sorts of stuff around town. But like one of the things I would like to do is to try to reach out to like, Our Lady of Peace, or like, you know, the which is the local Catholic Spanish language Catholic church for people paying attention that aren't David. uh, you know, which I think is nobody, but that's okay. But like, I would love to like set up that celebration, like the burning of the Judases, and like make a big old Judas for people to explode. So I just think that'd be really cool. Damn it, there's still a little bit of black in there. So yeah, the devil one is a Judas. I'm gonna, and like you understand, that it's like a traditional celebration. That it's not really meant to be like. There's people that be like that's satanic, right? You and I both know that. But it's like not meant to be that, right? Like not only is it not meant to be satanic, like it's a celebration of like, you know, of what it is, of Holy Week, of, the redemption of, you know, of, doing that performative bit where you say, I give up on this thing and accept this thing, right? Like that's what the Judases are about. Just trying to clean up that line a little bit. I probably don't really need to, but I just don't want it to be so streaky at the bottom. Oh no. Does that make sense? I've been talking forever. You haven't responded, so I assume it does. Is it dumb? Like, it's so dumb when you think about it that, like, if I'm if I'm explaining something to someone, I presume they understand. Like, I mean, I shouldn't, should I? I should. I should presume people are smart instead of dumb. Right? Oh, now no one's listening. I need to figure out how to put this like pointing straight down. That's what I think. Gonna do a so this is for sure gonna be the pirate one. And I'm gonna do like one side of his face blue, one side of his face like red. There he goes. Upset dog is upset. It's so loud when he barks. My next attempts at this have got to be better skulls. What I need is molds. which I definitely have to make for myself because I saw some Lupita molds. So like the Lupitas are like these little uh, girls' toy dolls. You know, the kind of the same kind of molds that I saw in like the video today, right? They're like $300 a pop. I think I can make them. So this looks like crazy and dumb right now, but I have an idea for where I want to go with it. I'm gonna add like little baby flowers, probably just little pink ones, and then cool. All the neighborhood dogs are barking now. It's definitely not because the dumb neighbors have their freaking dog in the front yard. I don't know. We'll see where this goes. This will be the least traditional, I'm sure. What if I? Sudden change of plans. Got a better idea. Sorry for the abrupt gear shift. I think I have a better idea from this. That involves half of it being blue. It's only half for now, but there will probably be other pieces of it that are blue. I gotta work on my setup a little bit. The way it is right now, there's like a adhesive component to it that is not holding true. That's going to need to dry for quite a while, I think. Okay, that needs to dry. All right. I am going to get as close to finished as I can on this little devil. Oh my god, Loki, please shut up. I don't want to go yellow, but I also need him to be quiet. Alright, yellow. Yellow. So we're going to go into the yellow first. And then we're going to go into white. Still pretty wet. But I think it'll be okay. Just blowing on it to dry it. So I can, because I just want to get that second layer on there. Right, because you can see there's just a little bit of black poking through there. I think I need it just dry enough. Oh, and not pick up any paint. Oh, stupid. Stupid camera. Alright. Give me 2 seconds.
Really nailing it, guys.
Compelling television.
Hold firm.
Of course. Oh, come on. You can do it. Sorry about my thumb. Oh, oops. Is this, or is this not, the most compelling live stream you have ever seen? My guess is that it is not. But that's okay. Oh man. A wobbly little head. Ugh. Oh. Nobody wants to see my fat belly. Oh, you're going to have to anyways. Sorry. All right. Back to it. Right. Let's get that color off of there. Off-ish, and it's not horribly important that it be perfect. Trying to figure out. There we go. All right. Go into the big pot. All right, so I had mentioned that I was just going to do some straight anime teeth. Probably didn't need to put the black behind that, but it just felt like this would pop a little bit better if I did. I think. It may be proven to be true. Might not be. Oh, stupid hands. I was complaining about how rough this red line was along the mouth. So I'll be able to go through there and just clean that whole thing up. I think I just give myself a nice little point. Yep, still loving that. Alright, don't worry. I'm not going to yell at him. I'm just going to make it so he's not staring out the window. The worst part about my dog is he's deaf. So when you do get annoyed with him, when you do have to talk to him, when you do have to discipline the dog, and like, don't get me wrong, I'm not like out there just like disciplining my animal all the time or anything wild. But when you do, he just, I mean, he doesn't listen, right? Because, you know, he's deaf. All right. A little bit more white to brighten that up. And then when that dries, I will give it a little, make some teeth lines. All right, so now I'm going to go into this red, kind of give it a little. So I've been seeing a lot of stuff about like wet palettes, like basically just how nice they are. I probably will end up having to get one because just doing cleanups and touch-ups on here, and some of this acrylic paint is already basically plastic. I saw something else. I know, right? Like my hands are not helping this situation. All right. All right, I think I'm good to go. This last little bit, oh, must be Yeah, it's almost 9 o'clock. Time for fireworks. See, bonuses to having an F dog. Fireworks don't bother him. Yeah, yeah, I like it. It's kind of, I don't know. Here, let's try one of the other lights. And the light is just harsh, so if I try to, but yeah, one done. I think that is good to go for that one. And with that, I want to do a little more planning for this one. So I'll tell you guys what I'm thinking I'm gonna do. And like I need to touch up the blue, so I'm gonna put an octopus with tentacles and then his eye patch, right? So it's more nautical themed. And then this one, I think I'm gonna make pretty traditional sugar skull, but it's got a little ways to go. So looking at all three of them. Well, they refuse to be displayed together. All right, move this out of the way. Move this. Pull them close. Oh, dang it, I got blue on there. Anyway, ta-da! All right, I'm going to call it a night. It's almost 9 o'clock. Mel will probably be home soon. I just want to say thank you to her for letting me skip hanging out with people to do this instead. I mean, I was mostly interested in the art aspect rather than the streaming, but figured I told you guys I would work on that project in your presence. So next time we'll do much more pacing on that, and then yeah, probably finish this guy soon, and then I'll start showing you some of my other projects I'm working on. These 4 guys are just the bulk of what I'm working on directly, but I have a big old shrine going, and then yeah. Past that, one last thing to do. It's a cat close up. Cat close up. Alright, hopefully my room wasn't too disgusting for everybody. I don't think it is. Oh, you can see the light. Anyway, I'll have my setup a little bit better next time, just because I have more tools for it, and et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, hope you guys had a good time. If you watch it later, like and subscribe and hit the notification bell and all that shit. And if you're watching this, I really need you to know that if I hated you, you would know. You really would. Like, I would tell you. Like, I would actively be like, oh, fucking hate that guy. /girl/ whatever.